Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever wished you could just know what people are really thinking? Not what they're saying, but what's going on underneath? Well, it's not some kind of superpower. It's a skill, and it's one you can absolutely learn. I mean, just imagine it for a second. Walking into a room and instantly getting a sense for the vibe. Think about what that would do for you at work, with your friends, in your relationships. It would be a total game changer, right?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle. Using some powerful insights from Patrick King's work, we're going to give you the keys to start unlocking what makes people tick.
All right, so where do we even begin? We start on the outside. We start by reading the surface. This is all about the clues people are giving off constantly, usually without even knowing they're doing it. Yep, we're talking about body language. You've heard this a million times, but it's so true. Look, we can all pick and choose our words very carefully, but our bodies are terrible liars. They often spill the beans on how we're really feeling, even when we're trying our best to hide it. But hold on. Before you go out there thinking you're a human lie detector, you have got to remember these two golden rules. First, context is king. Is someone crossing their arms because they're mad at you, or is the air conditioning just blasting? You got to know the situation. And second, look for clusters. One single gesture doesn't mean much, but crossed arms, plus the tight jaw, plus they're angled away from you. Okay, now you've got a pattern. And this is a really simple but powerful way to start. Is their body language open or is it closed? Open posture, leaning in, arms uncrossed, is like a green light. It says, I'm here, I'm engaged. Closed posture, well, that's more of a red light. It can signal anything from I'm uncomfortable to I'm not buying what you're selling. Now, this is where it gets really cool. Ever seen a quick flash of anger on someone's face that vanishes in an instant? That was probably a micro expression. Blink and you'll miss them. But because they're totally involuntary, they're like these tiny, honest windows into someone's real feelings. So reading the surface is a great first step. But to really get what's going on, we have to go a layer deeper. We need to start sensing the emotional current that's flowing beneath all that body language. And that brings us to emotional intelligence. You know, it's funny. A lot of people think emotional intelligence is all about understanding other people, but it actually starts at home. It starts with you. First, you have to be aware of your own emotions. Then you learn to manage them. And only then, once you've got a handle on your own stuff, can you really develop empathy and start to accurately sense what others are feeling. This is so important. When someone's talking, the actual words they're using are just one part of the message. Active listening means you're tuning into everything else. Their tone, the speed they're talking, the little pauses. That's where the emotion lives. You're trying to hear what isn't being said out loud. Okay, so we've talked about the what, the body language, the emotions. Now let's get to the fun part, the why. What are the fundamental things that drive pretty much everything we do? Okay, check this out. It really boils down to three main things. The biggest piece of the pie, by far, is our need for validation. We are just wired to want to feel liked, approved of, and understood. Then you've got our emotions. We're often driven by our feelings way more than by logic. And finally, social conformity. We have a powerful desire to just fit in. Keep these three in your back pocket, and trust me, a lot of confusing human behavior will start to make a whole lot more sense. You ever get into an argument and it feels like you're talking to a brick wall? Like, no matter what proof you show them, they just won't budge. Yeah, that's probably confirmation bias at work. Our brains literally fight to protect what we already believe, which makes it super hard to see things from another angle. So what really gets someone going? It usually falls into one of two buckets. There's intrinsic motivation, the stuff that comes from inside, like curiosity or a sense of purpose. And then there's extrinsic motivation, all the outside stuff, like money, awards, and social status. Figuring out which one is the main driver for someone tells you a ton about why they do what they do. All right, get ready for this next one because it might just flip how you see people entirely. We tend to think behavior is all about personality, but guess what? The situation they're in is often way more powerful. This is our default setting, right? Someone cuts you off in traffic, and what's the first thing you think? What a jerk. We go straight to judging their character, who they are as a person. But here's the twist. We almost never stop to consider the situation. What if that person wasn't a jerk? What if they were rushing to the hospital? See, the context changes absolutely everything. It's usually a much better explanation for behavior than just personality. And this is a perfect example. Take the same exact behavior, being quiet and reserved. In a library, we see that as respectful.
At a party, we might interpret that same person as being shy or even stuck up. Same person, same behavior, the only thing that changed was the context. It really is everything.
So, you're learning to read people, understand their emotions, see the situation they're in. Now what? What do you do with all this insight? Well, the goal isn't to manipulate or control. It's about building stronger, more real connections.
Let's be honest, we're kind of like herd animals. When we're not sure what to do, what's our first move? We look around to see what everyone else is doing. That's why online reviews are so powerful. We see a ton of 5-star ratings and we just assume, well, it must be good. Think about it. I bet you've done this. You see two restaurants side by side. One is buzzing with people, the other is empty. Which one do you pick? The busy one, right? Every time. That's you using social proof to make a decision.
And social proof is just one piece of the puzzle. There are all these other deep-seated principles like reciprocity, that feeling that you owe someone when they do you a favor, or scarcity, how we want things more when there aren't many left. Understanding these helps you connect with people as long as you're coming from a genuine place.
And really, this is what it all comes down to. This whole thing isn't about learning secret tricks to get your way. It's about using understanding and empathy to build real, honest-to-goodness connections with the people around you. So I'll leave you with this question. With all this in mind, who is one person in your life, at work, at home, anywhere, that you're going to make a real effort to understand just a little bit better starting today?